Great morning. Great morning. Hold on. There we go. Perfect. I see. We are in there and we are live. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? If you are watching the replay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you are watching us. Grand Rising. Great morning, Lana. I see you on here, love. I pray everybody is having a beautiful Friday. We're going to jump right into today and get it moving. I said I did not want to keep us long this morning. Let's see if I can do it. So listen, what we are doing, y'all, is we are reviewing this book. If by some chance you stumbled upon this video, if somebody has shared it with you, something like that, listen, we are reviewing this book, Business Secrets from the Bible, Spiritual Success Strategies for Financial Abundance, written by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And you guys, this book is fantastic. It is so good. I am so glad we are reading it. This is the second time that I've read it, but this second time has been a lot more thorough than the first. Okay. The first time was 2 years ago. We did a book review in the Christian Women Business Academy. Great morning, Laskaya. What's up, beautiful? We did a book discussion there, but we did not break it down like we are doing now. And I'm so grateful that we are. I'm learning so much this time around. And so we are officially on secret number 23 of the book of 40 secrets. We're on 23. And secret number 23 states specifically, because change is a constant reality, life is more accurately depicted by a video than a photograph. That's good. Life is more accurately depicted by a video than a photograph. So let's go ahead and get into prayer, and then we'll go ahead and start for today. How's that sound, y'all? All right. So great morning, Father. Thank you so much for another day. You know the drill, God. Today is a day that you have made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Father, you allowed us to be a part of another day, so there is still purpose left in us. So this morning we rise grateful. We want to just take a moment and say thank you. God, you remind us that you are in the midst of this conversation. You remind us that you are here for us this morning. You remind us that you love on us unconditionally. You remind us how you love us, because this morning we woke up again and you've already done things for us that we couldn't possibly do. And so this morning, Father, we ask for your forgiveness, because we want nothing to separate us from your love. Absolutely nothing. Not persecution, not fear, not death, not nothing, not sin, nothing. And so this morning we ask for your forgiveness for those things that we thought that we did or we even acted on. You know, you said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if we thought it, Father, forgive us. If we said it, Father, forgive us. If we did it, Father, forgive us. And we're so grateful that you take our sins, throw them into the sea of forgetfulness, and you truly forgive us. And so this morning, we're grateful for our connection with you, because we know as long as we have that, if we have nothing else, but we have that, we have everything that we need. And so today, God, illuminate this text. Show us what it is that you want us to see. Move me out of the way so that it is nothing but you teaching us from this book this morning. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. 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 All right, y'all. Let's do our usual. Let's go ahead and tag some friends here. Hold on. Tag friends, tag accountability partners, individuals who, they definitely could use this type, not type, but they could use this information this morning. Okay, that's one. Or tag somebody who's basically an accountability partner for you. The person who, what's up, Eugenia? Great morning. The person who invited you to the group. How about that? Or somebody else who shared this with you. So let's go ahead and let's tag a friend or two this morning. And let's get it going, y'all. Okay, let's see. I'm going to tag a couple of friends. Thank you. I see y'all doing the thing. I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to tag some friends. All right. You guys are beautiful. I appreciate you. I'm hopping back and forth from one group to the next so I can see who is who in here. I can't see everybody. Great morning, Ann. I see you, beautiful. And thank you for tagging friends. I appreciate you so much. All right, y'all. So let's dig into today. It's about that time. Secret number 23, as I have shared, is what we are reviewing today. We are over halfway in this book. You guys, we literally have like 3 weeks left and we're done with this book. That's it. So secret 23 for today. Today's secret is all about how change is a constant reality. And because it is, it's more accurately depicted in the form of a video instead of a photograph. Okay. He starts out the chapter with this really cool story. He says, imagine you see two pictures, right? You just see two photographs, and both photographs are of a beautiful, two different beautiful, happy couples. In the first photograph, he describes them as, you could tell that they're extremely happy together. They look so in love. Second photograph, they look so in love. You could tell they're happy with one another, holding hands. He says, so what's the story behind the pictures? When you look at both, you see two happy couples, right? You guys, I bit my tongue yesterday and it's so uncomfortable this morning. I know, me trying to talk in pain. Okay. And so I always feel bad for the kids when that happens, but oh my God, as an adult, you would think I wouldn't do that anymore, but I did. Okay. Backtrack. Focus. Concentrate. And so you have these two photographs. And so you see these two happy couples. What's the story? Right? I was like, that's a really good point. He says, well, in that first photograph, you'll see that the couple is out and they're enjoying one another. They're pretty much on date night, you know, enjoying each other. They're going to go home. You know, they're going to pay their babysitter, right? They're going to kiss their kids. They're going to go to bed, right? And they're happy. They may even sit next to each other and open up a book and read a couple of books before they drift off to sleep, because they're truly a happy couple, right? Then that second picture, you got another really happy couple. But what we don't know just looking at that picture are these two happy couples, they're married. They're just not married to each other. And so they're stealing a night away with each other. And then at the end of the night, they got to go home. And so they go to two separate homes with their spouses. They're two separate spouses, of course. And there's the guilt that they feel. And so they can barely kiss their spouses without having this tremendous amount of guilt. They can barely hug on their children because they feel so guilty. And then they, sneak off to sleep. Two pictures, two couples who look perfectly happy in the pictures, but two completely different stories in the background, which is such a great depiction of the fact that change is something that you can't look at through a photograph because it's a snapshot. Our lives are not a snapshot. And so he says a photograph cannot capture reality as well as a video because photography is merely a snap moment in time with no context. This is good. A video captures the truth for all to see because a viewer can see the consequence of the actions that follow the moment the snapshot is taken. Okay. The video captures a moment in context. A video captures the passage of time. Life is far more like the latter, a video, because we live in a world where time passes. We live in a world where change is continual and ceaseless. It was so interesting when I read this paragraph, when he said that, a photograph is a snapshot of a moment. It makes me think of social media. We get so preoccupied with other people's lives when we see their pictures, especially on Instagram. Oh my God. We get so preoccupied with how their lives look, and it's just a snapshot. When I got married, oh my God. Okay. We just had one child when we got married. That was Jalen. Jalen was 5. Yeah. I think he was 5. And it was so funny. So our pictures, you can actually see, it's hilarious when you look at it. So there's this series of pictures. They gave us all the pictures, the good, the bad, like every single one of them. And so there's this picture where you can see, me trying to get Jalen prepared in the picture with me and Wayne. We try to get him prepared. So you got the picture of me pulling him back like this, looking down, talking to him. Then you got the picture of me almost having him in place. And then you got the perfect picture where we're smiling. That's the picture we post. But then immediately right after that, you got the picture of him running away and me like this, like that. No one posts that picture. Everybody posts the beautiful snapshot. And so what happens when we post the beautiful snapshot is that people see our lives as perfect and they think, oh my God, I wish I had their life. They don't see me trying to catch the kid because we're trying to finish the pictures. They don't see when you have a family of 5 and you're trying to get this beautiful family photo, the 37 pictures you had to take just to get the one that looks really, really good and perfect. They don't see 37 others. Oh my God, there's another set of pictures. When I wrote my book and we did a book launch, and so my daughter didn't feel well that day. And as the day progressed, she felt worse and worse and worse. She was catching some kind of cold. And so in one of the pictures, I finally got a picture with all of us in it. All 5 of us. Me, her, Jalen, Jacob, Wayne. We're all in a picture together. And so Jalen's trying to hold Jacob because Jacob's trying to go everywhere. So his feet are dangling. And my daughter, I don't know what kind of face she was making. It was like, it's the craziest, most awfulest picture ever. But guess what? It's a family photo. And it's a pretty accurate depiction of how crazy our lives can be. But this is the thing. You never know the story behind the pictures. And so I always like to stop and just remind people, social media, you can't go off everything. We know this. You can't go off the perfect picture. You know why? Because there's so much that happens around that picture. In my Instagram stories and Facebook stories, I try to do a depiction throughout the day. I think of Instagram stories and Facebook stories as like reality TV. So you have the perfect picture in your gallery. You got the perfect picture on your wall. But stories, hey, that's like reality TV. That's like, listen, I woke up this morning, but I don't feel like getting out of bed. Reality TV. That's like, okay, I'm finally out of bed, getting myself together, but I look a mess. Like yesterday, hey, I'm dressed on the top, not on the bottom. Reality TV. You know, that's how I look at that. And it gives a more accurate depiction because it's a series throughout the course of the day. I just want you guys to remember that because I always think it's important to point out, listen, what you see on social media is not always real life. And stop comparing your chapter 2 to their chapter 200. All right? Or their fake chapter 200. When examining and assessing, this is really good. Your finances, your business, the course of your career, do not use a snapshot. Don't. This is huge. We got a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners on here. You could be at a difficult moment. And if you examine your business, if you examine everything through a snapshot, through a moment, you're not going to have the right perspective. He says, examine your personal and business matters as if you are watching a video. In other words, do not just focus on here and now. Consider where you are headed. Look for trends and track your direction. So for example, I could say, oh my God, I did not have a really good day yesterday. In fact, you guys, I haven't had a great week business-wise because I was so distracted and emotional starting on Sunday. It took several days for me to actually get out of that place, right? So it took several days to get out of that place. And then I just don't feel like I've been as productive as normal. In fact, I know I haven't. So I could look at this week and be like, oh my God, I'm doing an awful job in my business. Would that be true? Absolutely not. That's not true at all. Because see, it's a snapshot. And if I just look at a snapshot, then I will misjudge the productivity and efficiency of what we are doing together. I will completely be off target. If we look at the course of the last year, what is the trend? Over the last year, the video. If I look at the course of the last year, the trend is this. The direction is up. We've consistently built our team up. Okay, so we got some pullback, but it's consistently going up. Okay, that is the trend. The trend is the morale and camaraderie of the team is consistently going up. The trend is people are really learning. The trend is people are enjoying one another in the community. The trend is we are really getting people on the path to financial abundance. The trend is our numbers are higher than they were before. So you must look at the trend. You cannot look at here and now because here and now can be deceptive. It can absolutely, be deceptive. The truth is only visible when you consider the passage of time. Okay. So it's really important to understand, do not just look and here and now. Do not despair. This is so important about your current situation, especially if you don't like where your current situation is. Okay. Change it. This is so huge. You guys, listen to this. This right here, I feel like this was my biggest takeaway in the entire chapter for me. Don't despair about your current situation. Change it. If you put in the work and seize upon opportunity, you can see great change. So don't despair. Remain cheerful. Stay positive. And like the gentleman that he tells a story about, he says, seize opportunity when it presents itself. Your life does not have to stay the same. In fact, it will not. It never does. As we have seen, change is inevitable. So there is no benefit to letting your fear immobilize you. This is really important. I have seen with my own eyes the extreme difference 1 year can make. One. When I say extreme difference, I actually mean in the positive. I don't mean in the negative. I know that a year can be challenging. And so for some people, they're like, yeah, I can see how things can change in a year too. Like if we think about the pandemic, for some people, just crazy, hellacious year. Tumultuous for all of us, hellacious for some. Okay. I have seen that even in a difficult financial season that the country has gone through, my personal financial season has increased. I've seen it in 1 year because my husband and I seized an opportunity. So within 12 months, our lives are different. 12 months. Now, what did it take for that to happen? Obviously, things were shaken up by the pandemic. My business was tested during the pandemic, right? And so as a result, we had to pivot. We had to shift, and we made a shift. We made a pivot. We did that last year in July, okay? July 8th, 2020 is when we incorporated this additional revenue stream through network marketing into our company, into our household. Okay, so there was that. There was also coaching. My husband still works. There's the, there's my book. There are, master classes, just different avenues like that when it comes to bringing income into our home streams. Now, this is what I can tell you. Over the course of the last year, the majority of the education that I have received, the majority of it has been financial education. My financial IQ is in a completely different place than it was just 1 year ago. And now my financial IQ 1 year from today is going to be in a completely different place than it is today. And I know this because of the incremental steps that I continue to take, the incremental steps that my husband, that we continue to take together, the steps, the things that we're teaching our children. So we understand now something that we didn't understand before. We didn't understand the extreme difference of how cash flow, not difference, but we didn't understand how cash flow impacted our lives. We didn't understand the true definitions of assets and liabilities. We didn't understand where we should actually be putting money. We didn't know those things just a year ago. What we thought we knew, we were wrong. And that is why we were still struggling. Even though together we were still bringing in 6 figures with my business and my husband's job, we were still bringing that money in and we were still struggling. 1 year later, first of all of my income has been replaced. 100% of the revenue that I generated from my coaching company has been replaced. 100% of it through a completely different vehicle. That's one. So I know things can be completely different a year from now, or within a year. That's one. Change is inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. What can you do to embrace the change and seize an opportunity? The time is going to pass anyway, you guys. The time is going to pass anyway. If you are not where you want to be, the reality is the time is going to pass. If you are still making decisions the same way you made them before, and the time is still passing, and your results aren't changing, what do you need to do different? What? Okay. Remember, your life is best seen in a video, as a video, not as a photograph. If your video is telling you, if the trend is telling you you're going in a direction you don't want to go in, that's the trend, not a snapshot. You cannot use a current situation and say, oh my God, my life is horrible. No. Is it really? When we look back over the last 12 months, is it really? Now, if you find that you look back over the last 12 months and you're like, yeah, Demita, it is. Like, it's trending downward. I'm going in a downward spiral. My money has been going negative for a year. And yeah, I really honestly don't know what to do. I don't know. And now that you mention it, my decisions are actually the same as they were then. I guess I'm not really doing anything different. I don't know what to do different. You have to change it. You have the ability to change it. I cannot even tell you how much I have read on increasing my financial IQ. You have the ability to change it. Every single day, my nose is in some book. Every single day, it is. You know why? Because, see, I'm getting information. I'm getting educated far more than I did financially when it came to school. I didn't receive any of this education in school. Zero, zilch, nada, none of it, right? And so now I'm more educated. And guess what happens as a result of this education? I get to make better decisions. You got to get educated. You got to increase your financial IQ. And it will help you make better decisions with your business, with your personal life. Okay? It will. That's if you see that your life is trending in the direction that you don't want. If your life, if you look at it not as a snapshot, but as a video, a trend, if you see your life is trending in the direction you want, you're killing it. Keep doing it. Absolutely killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. It is working. Okay. But I want to encourage you because I'm telling you, I know for a fact that things can look different in a year. As I was sitting upstairs this morning, I was thinking about what's happening with us and how committed I am to increasing our revenue again. And I had a goal for our 1-year anniversary. And you guys, I'm freezing on Facebook. I'm not free. It doesn't look like it to me. Am I freezing to anybody else? I just noticed one of the comments. Am I freezing to anyone else? Let me know if I am freezing. I need you guys to comment. Because Laskaya said I'm freezing for her. Yes, a little bit. Oh, somebody else said no. I don't see it. Okay, let's keep going and then let me know. Okay, just keep me posted if I'm freezing for you. I don't see it on my phone, which usually shows me. But let me know. Okay, so I got a yes and I got a no. So I don't know. Maybe if you live near me, the answer is yes. Anywhere near the Midwest. I don't know. Okay. So I really just want to encourage you because I know life can look different in a year. One of the things that I'm really focused on is increasing our revenue again. And I was just thinking about how committed I am to this process and how it's happening. And I'm grateful because I learned what's possible in a relatively short amount of time. We often overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in like 5 years. You guys, based upon what kind of change, and I see how drastic change can be in just 12 months in 1 year. Based upon that, I shudder to think what the next 5 years are going to be like. It's absolutely going to be incredible and amazing. But first things first, I want you to know you can change things for yourself within 1 year's time. And I want you to be encouraged. Like, I really want you to be encouraged and know that it is possible. But it takes diligent, focused effort and no excuses. Okay? One of the things he talks about here in the book is a gentleman named Miguel. Okay? So he was doing some contract work for a company, and Miguel was an employee who worked there. He had recently immigrated from Mexico, and he had a job where he was earning minimum wage. He had a family, his wife, and I know he had at least one child. I don't remember how many. So they had children, a child or children. It was children. He had children, 2 children. There it is. So he had a wife and 2 children. And so what would happen is he earned minimum wage. And you and I both know that's not a lot of money, right? And so he earned minimum wage, but he was the happiest person. And so Rabbi Lapin expected him not to be, super happy, to talk about how challenging things were. But nope, that wasn't his story. His story was, no, we are doing amazing. We're doing great. They were excited. His wife also worked. She earned minimum wage. His mother-in-law, his wife's mom, helped watch the children. So because they didn't have to pay for childcare, all right, what happened was, even though they made minimum wage, they were just able to pay their bills and just able to get by. But he was so excited about that because he was making more than he had made in the past. He was blessed and he knew it. And so he was happy, he was joyful. So a year later, Rabbi Lapin comes and he's excited to see him. He can't wait to just talk to him because he's a really great person. Guess what happened? He wasn't in the same position he was in anymore. He was in a different position. The different position was this. Oh man, this is so good. The different position was this. He said, instead of the job he was doing before, where he was making minimum wage, he was now in a position where he was making 5 times as much as he was when he first met him. What did he do? Well, he was a manager before he had been an assembly line worker in an unskilled position. Now he was the person who took care of all their forklifts. He was like the manager of this area of the company. Now, how did that happen? It happened because the company, the company that he worked for, contracted with another company to take care of their forklifts for maintenance. Well, they increased their rates, and his company that he worked for, they couldn't afford the increase in the rates of the contractor. So Miguel goes to his boss and he's like, listen, he said it told his boss that everybody in Mexico is an amateur mechanic because we had to learn how to make our cars just run forever. So he's like, I can try to fix it. If I can't fix it, fine, but I will do my best to keep them running. That's what he did. And guess what? He was able to do so well that was like his permanent thing. So he got a promotion, right? Where he was making 5 times as much money. His wife no longer had to work. And so she was home with their children. And it was something that he was so proud of. Now, why is this story so fascinating? And why am I just like, man, this is so good? Because he used his ingenuity and he was courageous enough to say to his boss, listen, I know that they're too expensive. I can help in this area. If you just give me a chance, I can help. How many of us would have the courage to go to our boss and be like, I can help in that area? Who would have the courage to do it? Right? Then the other thing is, how many of us would have the ingenuity or the creativity or an open enough mind to see an opportunity like that when it comes available and seize it? That's the difference. To seize an opportunity when it becomes available, that's what you have to do. Okay? And so change is going to be constant. What you got to be able to do is, not only do you have to have the strength to do something, but you got to have the courage to actually use that strength when the time comes. He talks about how when God promotes Joshua to be Moses' successor, he tells him, listen, be strong and of good courage. So it's 2 things. You got to be strong and you have to have courage. What Miguel did in this situation was he had the strength and the mind, not the mindset, but the knowledge, but then he had to have the courage to talk to his boss and say, hey, if you give me an opportunity, I would do this. So what are we telling you? Change is going to happen anyway. Things are going to be challenging at some point anyway. A lot of change we've learned. A lot of change is difficult. A lot of changes can be transformative. But this is what's important. You got to be strong and you got to have courage. Because see, being strong by itself, but not having the courage to use that strength, y'all, that's the problem. You have to have the strength, but you also have to have the courage to use the strength when necessary. He says that scripture teaches us that we must first have strength, and then we need courage to do whatever needs doing. Gaining strength is a matter of strategy. Gaining courage is more complicated. How do I get the courage to take the steps when the reality is, Demeter, I'm scared as hell? Like, how do I do that? He gave us some tips, three ways that he says you can actually gain courage. Because remember, my friends, y'all strong enough to do almost anything you want to do. But do you have the courage to use and exercise that strength? The reality is all of us are gifted. All of us. But do you have the courage to use the gift? Do you have the courage? If I have the gift to be able to speak, but I'm too afraid to get in front of people and start having these conversations, what good does it do? Not doing video all those years. Oh my God, being afraid to do a video. Being totally afraid to get on camera. But having the skill set, having the gift, being afraid to use the gift, what good does that do? You need the courage in order to move forward. Or guess what happens? Your gift and your skills and your talents, they just sit dormant. How many people do we know right now? Man, they could sing you up under a table. They could sing you under a pew in the church. How many people do we know that have the most beautiful voices, but they're afraid to use them? How many athletes, young people, do we know who are gifted athletes, but they're afraid to even try out for the team? How many do we know? What is it that you're gifted in, but you're just afraid to even step out there and try? Afraid. What's the worst that could happen? You don't get the job. You don't make the team. People don't listen to you sing. How is that any worse than where you were before when you weren't doing it? Y'all are so gifted. Each and every one of y'all is so gifted. The question is, are you actually being courageous enough to use the gift, that strength that God has given you? So what are three of the strategies that he gives us to actually develop courage? The first thing he says, analyze any challenges that you face. Okay. And so what you want to do is analyze them so you can separate them. What do I mean when I say separate them? Oftentimes, and this is true, he points out that oftentimes challenges come in bunches. So it's not just one thing. It's one thing with another thing with another thing. And so you're trying to figure out, how do I take care of these three things? And because it's so many things at once, and you're trying to take care of all of them at one time, you are completely overwhelmed. And you're like, you know what? I can't even do it. I just can't do it. How about if you got three challenges in front of you, you separate them. And so you work on one, and then you work on the second one, and then the third one. How about that? How about you separate them? Use pen and paper. Analyze each one by itself so you can tackle each one so you are not overwhelmed. That's number one. Strategy number one. Strategy number two. Did you know that cowardice is contagious? Want me to prove it to you? Let's just say you are out in the street and you just walk in. Let's just say it's summertime, like you downtown Chicago, you having a really good time. You on Michigan Avenue. It's a beautiful day out. And then all of a sudden, somebody starts running in the other direction. And you look, and then another person starts running in the other direction. And you look, and you like, shoot, I'm running too. Then all of a sudden, everybody is flying in the other direction. You don't have a clue what's going on, but they're running, so you're running. And it can have absolutely nothing to do with everybody, right? Cowardice is contagious. It is. All right. He even goes as far as to say it's our natural default condition. But this is the thing that's powerful. Just like cowardice is contagious, guess what else is? Courage is contagious. So what's the strategy here? Get around courageous people. If you are around cowards all the time, what does that make you? Yep. If you are around 10 courageous people, what does that make you? Courageous person number 11. If you are a person, real talk, who really honestly, you're like, I want to be super healthy. I want to see how healthy I can be. I want to eat right. I want to move my body. I want my body to become a machine. and you look around and not one, not two, but all of your friends are overweight. All of them. Like, all of them. You in the picture, and you the smallest one. All of them are overweight. Do you really think that you have the right environment in order for you to become the healthiest version of yourself possible? Do you really think so? How do you change that? You start introducing healthier people into your network. What does that look like? That may look like, seeing it's easier to do in this day and age because we got social media at our fingertips. That may look like you change who you follow on social media. That may look like now the only thing that pops up on your social media feed is all healthy meals. Is all people who work out on a consistent basis. That may be what your social media looks like now. You may snooze your friend who's constantly posting stuff about the best lasagna recipe or the best pizza you can get in town. Maybe you snooze them for the next 30 days. You can love on them later, but right now you're really trying to get your health together. And if you're constantly looking at the ooey gooey cheese and pasta on Facebook, how is that going to encourage you to eat more fruits, vegetables, and whole foods? It's not. It's absolutely not. And so maybe you need to snooze them for the next 30 days and fill your feed up with all things healthy. All people who are really getting their life right when it comes to health. That's how it changes. Hey, Shantae, good morning, sis. It's good to see you. That's how it changes. That's how. Courage is contagious. If you are around a bunch of courageous people, guess what happens? You become the next courageous person. So one, you need to separate things, separate those challenges so you're not overwhelmed, so you can tackle them one at a time. Two, surround yourself with courageous people and not cowards. And I'm not going to lie to you. The majority of people are cowards. I'm just real talk, real talk. So many people we are around do not follow their dreams because they're scared of what other people are going to think. How are they going to help you? How? They're not. You got to be meticulous about the people you spend time with. You got to really pay attention. That could be family members. You can love on them. Absolutely. But you don't have to be around certain people all the time. You don't. You absolutely do not. You need to look at your friends. You need to look at your values and say, what do I value? Now, if you look at your environment and you're like, my environment does not reflect what I value, who can change that? Only you. You are the only one that can change it. And when I say environment, I mean the network of people around you. That's what I mean. Change your network. Change it. And don't just get rid of your friends. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Because I remember not understanding when people said that, like, well, what am I supposed to do? Don't just get rid of your friends because they could be looking at you like, sis, what? No, you start injecting more people into your circle. So the health example is a really good one. Wealth is another one. If you honestly, let's just be really, really brutally honest. Stop telling yourself that you really want to be wealthy and you're not taking any steps to build wealth. Stop. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling you. Okay. You're lying to yourself. If you are making the same decisions that are keeping you stuck, and by stuck, I mean financially stuck. If you're making the same decisions that are keeping you in the same place, remember, life is best viewed, change is best viewed, not as a photograph, but as a video. And we're looking at trends here. If the video shows the trend is in a negative direction, that you are not moving in a positive direction financially, if we look over the course of the last year, if we look over the course of the last 2 years, last 3, last 5, things are still going in a downward trend, then it's you. It's you. What can you do different? Obviously, decisions when it comes to finances, perhaps you honestly just don't know what you should be doing. I kid you not. I didn't know what I should have been doing. The advice that I got was very basic. It was very basic advice. And it wasn't powerful advice. My parents told me to save something. Good. Where do I save it? Where do I put it? If I put it in the bank, I'm going to earn 1.5% over the course of the year. So I can save $1,000. I'm going to earn 15. How is that helping? That doesn't even keep up with the inflation. It doesn't even keep up. Right. So $1,000. And then once I start really learning about how money works, I realized that the value of that $1,000 is not even the same value a year from now. It's not, I can't even buy the same things with $1,000 that I could buy a year ago. 10 years ago, I could probably buy 5 phones for $1,000, 5 cell phones. Now I can barely get one. The value of my $1,000 has gone down. It's not the value of these have gone up. The value of our dollar is going down. So if the value of the dollar is going down, a year from now, my $1,000 won't even be able to buy the same things. And all I'm earning is $15 on it. But we got other people to take $1,000 and somehow they can flip 1,000 into 5,000 legitimately. Then obviously I'm learning from the wrong people. I need to learn from people that understand how to make this money work for them. Like instead of me working so hard for it, how do I make it work for me? Obviously, the bank ain't the place. I got to figure something else out. And that's when you start educating yourself. That's when you start surrounding yourself, injecting people into your network that understand finances, that have a higher financial IQ than you. When you do that, now you're like, okay, oh my God, I'm learning something. That is how your life looks different a year from now. Get the courage to be around people who outthink you. That's not easy. I can tell you, I've walked in rooms, so many rooms. Oh my God, so many rooms where I was the only Black person in the room. That's not comfortable. And I wasn't concerned about prejudice, none of that, but it's still not comfortable. Now, not only am I only the Black person, I'm the only Black woman. I've walked in rooms like that before. I've walked in rooms where the financial IQ off the charts, and I'm a novice. That's not comfortable. But guess what I do in a room like that? I close my mouth, I open my ears, and I take notes. That is how you start to be the person that can help other people raise their financial IQ. And you literally in the course of a year can change your family. So that's how you do it. You don't get rid of your circle. You start injecting new people into your circle until you start to notice your circle looks very different than it did just 1 year ago. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. So number 1, to develop courage, we got to analyze things separately. Number 2, we got to understand that courage is contagious. Laskaya said, can I be honest? I get intimidated and I'll fall back. Okay, so let me tell you, you're not the only person that does that. All right? You're not the only one. This is so important to understand what self-sabotaging behavior looks like. It's so important because that's what happens. So when you feel, because I can tell you, I've been there. What I noticed was that when things would start to go really, really well in my businesses, there'd always be something when things would be at a peak that would happen that would make me withdraw. And so I'm going to ask you one simple question, just one. How is that serving you? How is falling back helping you move forward? Is it increasing your wealth? Is it increasing your health? I'm going to ask the hard questions. Right? Because see, somebody else would be like, I completely understand, sis. I know. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I do understand what it feels like, but how is that serving you? I'm just going to ask you the hard question. Exactly. It's not. And so since it's not serving you, you and only you are the person that can change it. Nobody else can. Nobody. You got to be willing to get uncomfortable in that feeling of intimidation and press through it. Because if you keep allowing yourself to be intimidated and just uncomfortable, and so you completely fall back, you'll never gain the courage to move through it. You don't even get the opportunity to tell people and brag about being brave if you're not scared in the first place. That's what people don't understand. Don't tell me how courageous you are when you weren't scared at first. Like if you weren't scared, how courageous are you? Being courageous means that you were afraid, you had fear, you had discomfort, and you pushed past the fear and the discomfort anyway. That's when you can tell me I was bold, I was strong, I was of good courage. If you don't have any fear, what you bragging about? See, what makes it powerful, Laskaya, is when you're afraid and you do it anyway. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it powerful, because what's going to happen is you're going to learn that there's not a lot to be intimidated by. I remember when I heard First Lady Michelle Obama say something. I think I was watching the show on Netflix, Becoming. I think that's what I was watching, the documentary. She has a really short, brief documentary that is a little bit about the book, Becoming, the tour, the whole thing. And she said she would be oftentimes only black woman in these rooms. And she said she'd get in these rooms and she'd discover a lot of these people shouldn't have been in these rooms. A lot of the people that we get intimidated by, there is absolutely nothing to be intimidated of. When you start getting in these rooms and you realize, I have talked to so many people, and you start having conversations and you realize these people are not as smart as they say they are, or we think they are on the surface. And you realize that in a lot of cases, the only reason some of these people are in some of these rooms is because they were just in a better position to get there. They didn't necessarily work to get there. That is why I love the circle that I'm in. Because see, the circle that I'm in, these people work to get in this circle. That's why I like network marketing so much, unapologetically so. Because people work to get to where they are. They work for that. When they got them 6-figure incomes coming in every single month, they put in the work to make that happen. Nobody gives you anything in network marketing. You work for it. And so you know when you see a person and you know they're earning 6 figures a month, you know they did the work. You know they did the work. And instead of being intimidated, you go into the conversation as a student to sit at the table with your notebook and your pen and just take notes. That's it. Just take notes. What can I add to a conversation if I'm sitting, and this just happened to me, and I'm just telling you, I still do the same thing. What can I logically add to a conversation when I'm sitting at the table with people that make 6 and 7 figures a month? So in last month, in May, when I had the opportunity to speak at that event, to host an event with, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 people, something like that. It was a company event. Now, this is what's amazing. So I go to lunch with the speakers, okay? I'm sitting next to somebody who makes $25,000 a month. It's kind of sweet. That's close to $500,000 a year. I'm sitting next across from somebody who makes $10,000. I'm sitting next to somebody on the other side who makes $100,000 a month. That's just in one venture. She and her husband do all kinds of other things, but she is a multimillionaire. What am I going to add to the conversation? Nothing. Except me sitting there with my notepad and my pencil and take notes. That's what you do. You get in that room because you deserve to be there. You deserve the opportunity. You work for those opportunities. You put in the time. You put in the work. I want people to know my name because I did the work. And so my name got there. My reputation got there before I did. Right? So they know that she deserves to be at this table. My reputation got me there. But when you get a seat at the table, even when it's intimidating, you sit there and you take notes. Because guess what? One day it won't be intimidating, but you have to sit at the table long enough for it not to be. So you always must ask yourself, how is this serving me? If the answer is it is not, then only you have the ability to be able to change it, and you must change it, or you will always be intimidated. Always. You are the only one that has the ability to change that fact. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Number 3. Okay, number 3. So we did 1 and 2 to develop courage. And now number 3, proactively, he says, proactively seek strength in ancient Jewish wisdom. What I'm going to tell you is to proactively seek strength in the Bible. Okay, so his ancient Jewish wisdom comes from the Bible, all right, which is the Torah. And so he says, when you feel yourself faltering before fear, let the magic of the Lord's language just wash over you. Repeat to yourself, be strong and of good courage. Be strong and of good courage. Be strong and of good courage. Just repeat it to yourself over and over. Be strong and of good courage. Be strong and of good courage. Okay, just repeat it to yourself over and over and over. And we're going to end with this. Okay, scary, inevitable change is constant. But courage becomes constant with exercise and regular use. It's a muscle, y'all. It's a muscle. Courage will always be the best way to handle fear and to cope with change. Listen, let me tell you this. A lot of people do not know that when I speak, I get very, very, well, not very, very, but I get nervous every time I speak. I have the ability to calm the fear, to calm the nervousness. I understand that it's going to happen every single time. Like, it's going to happen. Every time on Wednesdays when we do our team nights and our presentations, true story, you guys, every Wednesday I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, how do I want to open up? What do I want to share? And I'm calming myself every single time. Every time. Okay. It's never to the point that I'm like, oh, I'm not scared at all. Nope. I go into situations constantly uncomfortable. You know, what I do understand is that if I face the fear and I face the discomfort, I know without a doubt I'm going to be stronger on the other side. And I am on a mission to see just how dope I can become. And in the process, how many people can I truly help on this journey of becoming the best Demeter that is possible? How healthy can Demeter really be? How wealthy can Demeter really be? How wise can Demeter really be? How great of a wife can Demeter really be? How great of a mom can Demeter really be? I'm on this mission, on this lifelong journey to just get better every single day. And the only way I can do that is by facing my fears. The stuff that scares me, the question is, why is it scaring me? Like, why am I afraid to be in a room of people who make like ridiculous amounts of money? Because I don't have that yet in the flesh. In the spirit, yes, I do. But I don't see it in my hand yet physically. That's an irrational fear. Why should I be afraid of that? That's where I should want to be so I can learn it. Right? I heard a mentor say one time, you guys, and this is real, and this may be helpful, Iskaya. I heard him say this, oh my God, I will never forget this. I went to a national training event, and this man was terrified of snakes. Terrified. When I tell you, okay, they brought this huge, massive snake and put it on his neck. And he was terrified. Do you hear me? Terrified. And he asked them to do it. He was trembling. He was just trying to recite a poem. And what he said when he was done, he said, I want you to know that danger is real. Fear is a choice. And I choose to conquer this fear today. I said, I'll be damned. He had a whole snake on his neck. It was humongous. He was terrified. He was trembling up there speaking. So what I want you to know is this. Jumping out of a plane without a parachute, that's dangerous. Okay? Standing in a puddle of water when there's a live wire attached to it, that's dangerous. That could kill you. Okay? Speaking in front of people, that's fear. Being afraid to call somebody, and that's the only way you can build your business, that's fear. Danger is real. Fear is a choice. Choose wisely. Y'all have an amazing weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday morning, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. Bye, y'all. Love you.